Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight than in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night. I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas.
What?
Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Shakespearean? My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law. Having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Even though his skills are kind of mediocre at best. Seriously, how many deductions did the guy make that were all wrong? Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. This is a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now. I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. Wait, I'm not sure this is referring to the case of, McGilded, or the Briar Road case, or even the Eggs Benedict. But an epic trial is just one small part of an epic tale. A tale which was now about to waken from slumber. Oh yeah, that! Like, I think I was pestering Susanna, like, what's in there? And she never said. Thanks to a letter that arrived this morning. What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. Hello! Ah, Runo, good. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready. Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. Your surprise better be good. Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, this could be just the obtruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Also, hey Virgil, how are you and the cat doing? I hope you're both doing alright. Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes. Yeah. Get away! That was too close for comfort. The truth is clear as date, is clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Miss Naruhodo, you have this very morning met with a surprise! Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. First, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. A phoenix nest, I'll have you know. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Kitty! Tell the cat I love them. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flustered this morning. Can I talk now? But of course! Though I don't look for admiration, you understand. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. No, it has? And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you! Ellie pulled your button off? Also, Iris, there's a cat watching. With Virgil's cat. Ah yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped! Why did it have to happen? Why? Yeah... bad luck, but... strings snapping on violins, while inconvenient, it's not too... it's not that big of a problem, I guess? Like, I mean, I know some places sell replacement strings, and I think you have to go to an expert to get it rewired, but... yeah, it is an inconvenience, but not earth-shattering. Little wonder then in my vexation, I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes. You ripped it off and threw it? Yay. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring. But really, I think trying to do a higher pitch voice, it's kind of... throat. But early, Rudo said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning. Wah ha 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 ha. Well, that really is a surprise. Yep, this man is the pride of the British Empire. The famous consulting detective. I almost said defective. Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Happy late birthday. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name. As long as he doesn't get super close to the camera, that's fine. Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it goes cold. And I have new apple tea for you to try too. My latest special blend. Here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yep, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, as published in Ranst magazine. So, Mr. Naruto, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? Well, I received a letter from Japan. Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it really? That's right. She had some rather startling news, in fact. I already read it. Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast. Oh yes, what fun! Like, as everyone's eating bacon, it's like, there was a murder in Japan! Everyone does a spit take. Where's anything new? The machine really isn't posing, isn't it? I can never remember its name. And they calls it his great analytoscope. It can analyze anything at all. That doesn't really help me. What does analyzing something even mean? Magnifying glasses? Ah, an extremely astute question, Mr. Naruto. Sorry. Well, as Iris said, my machine here spits out analysis results of anything with which you kind of present it. But how to interpret those results, that's the key. And I confess I have no idea. Lovely. Clearly, I'm going to have to construct a great analytoscope to solve the problem. That might not help. What else is here? Books, papers, scientific implements. These shelves are stuffed to the gunnels. Gunnels? I need to look at what gunnel is. I've never heard that term before. Aw, Kitty loves you. Mrs. Sada wouldn't be able to help herself if she were here. She can't stand mess. Susie might not be able to stand mess, but she wouldn't dare touch those shelves. Oh yeah, she's a fangirl. Everything's in intricate balance. Ellie spent ages on it. If you were to touch even one thing, the whole lot would come tumbling down. Great. Susie noticed it was a very delicate arrangement right from the onset. You make it sound like a meeting of great minds. But the truth is, Mr. Sholmes just needs to tidy up. Ah yes, Mr. Sholmes' faithful musical companion. Wasn't this violin made by someone famous? Yes, it's a Stradivarius. Now I'm afraid you'd have to save up for 100 years before you could afford one, Runo. Did you buy it for a song, Mr. Sholmes? I found it at a pawnbrokery among the forfeited articles. It clearly said Stradivarius on the label. Wait, the same pawnbrokery where murder happened? The ignorant broker had no idea of its true value, you see, so I paid a mere 55 shillings for it. Yes, I have something of a turn for shopping. Sherlock Sholmes, bargain hunter. Is it really a Stradivarius? But of course, my dear fellow, it said so on the label. I don't know, you could like slap the I could slap it on your forehead and say you're a Stradivarius violin. I think perhaps the ignorant broker had something of a turn for selling. I've only lived with 3 cats in my past. Like, not my cats, but, like, I guess when it comes to helping cats, they're sort of like, leave me alone! When it gets to this time of year, Londoners seem to leave their hearts alight all day long. And I love it. Also, that's not... Granted, I was in the general direction of that, but that wasn't really what I pressed. There's something very relaxing about watching the flames flit and dance about. But the fireplace in days of summertime is a waste of space. Really, no use at all. Rather like a great detective in days of no crowd. Ouch. But consider this. Instead of a fireplace, a frost place. That's my latest idea. That would melt. An extraordinary earth from which emanates a cool breeze in the hot summer months. What do you think? Oh, I thought you was talking about like instead of like a fireplace full of fire, it's just ice. I think if you invented such a thing, your name would go down in history. You just invented air conditioning. The principle is extremely simple. One must, of course, light a cold fire in the hearth. This isn't Legend of Zelda. Yes, of course. Brilliant. Trouble is, none of the fires I build ever burn cold. How it taunts me. So, as you better say, is a bit of a damp squib? Squib. Sorry, hold on, let me... Oop. I'm trying to get something. Come on. Okay, first off, let me... just make sure VTube juice doing good. Okay. Sorry, I'm checking. Because I'm curious. I've never heard... Okay. Okay, first things first. Gunnel, an elongated, laterally compressed fish with a dorsal fin? What? Okay, either gunnel is something, it's a part of a fish, or it's some sort of part of a boat. It's... As for the other thing... Squib, a small firework that burns with a hissing sound before exploding. A short piece of satirical writing. A small, slight, or weak person, especially a child. Short kick on a kickoff. A comparatively short distance of a kickoff. Or utter, write, or publish a satirical or sarcastic attack. Oh, wait. Also, wait, that word is also in Harry Potter? Like the phrase, it's like the term for someone born with magic parents but doesn't have magic themselves. What? Sorry, just like equating the little hissing firework to someone who can't use magic and just... I can't... Rowling, you hack! Ah yes, the huge metal chest with the lace cloth laid on it, the little doily, being used as a table for tea and coffee. It's very sturdy, that's for sure, and firmly locked shut. That chest contains my father's detailed records of earliest many cases. Yeah, so I've been led to believe. Though personally, I've never actually seen inside it. And that's the way it will stay. Those papers are a secret between Daddy and me. No peeking. I can't wait to see Daddy in the future. He's definitely not dead. If you go open it uninvited, you might find yourself being bitten by a gun. What, is there a beast inside there or something? These are different pieces of evidence from cases you've solved, aren't they, Mr. Sholmes? Not quite, Mr. Naruto, not quite. These trinkets are a selection from cases I've solved with particular aplomb. They are souvenirs of my success. Memories, Mr. Naruto. Memories. I wonder if they're references to actual Sherlock Holmes books. I've never read them, though. Really? So tell me about the case in which the bust of Napoleon featured. I forget. Good night, cat. Memories, he says. Wonderful. Ah, yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? What's in the melting pot today? The blue car. Have I read this before? A case of theft that early solved ages ago. The theft of a precious stone. A carbuncle is not a name for a garnet, you see. Especially when it's cut with a rounded top. Oh, really? And this garnet was blue? Well, that's the thing. They're usually red. No blue garnets have ever been discovered. Oh. So who knows what the stolen gemstone actually was? That's the real mystery of the case. Proper Sherlock Holmes conundrum, huh? I look forward to finding out what aroma your tea will have, Iris, every single day. Ah, well, I infuse a different concoction of herbs from the garden every time, so it's never the same twice. When you call it a concoction, it sounds more like a science experiment than something for tea time. Hold on a sec. Oh yes, that's because different blends can have very different properties. Some calm you down, some make you feel jolly, some give you energy, like caffeine or melatonin. I'm trying to remember, there was a kind of chemical that makes you sleepy. Like if caffeine makes you like super like wee. Today's particular blend is something quite special, so you're really in for a treat. That sounds ominous. It's got opium in it. There's so many different bottles up there on that charming little set of white shelves. Oh, do be careful, Bruno. You mustn't try the contents of either of those bottles, even if you're hungry. I wouldn't do something stupid like that. I'm not a child, you know. Well, I wish I could say the same for Early. The other day, he polished off a full bottle of one of my alcohol. That can't be good. He said he was hungry. Did he poop out a bunch of alkaloids? I can type with my eyes shut, you know? I can believe it. When the deadline's approaching, you sound like a Gatling gun. Like That reminds me of a dream I had the other day. It was such a funny one. It woke me, actually. I was typing for a whole hour in the pitch black, but I didn't make a single mistake. That's incredible. But then, when it got light, I found that there wasn't any paper in the machine. Oh. I wonder if I'd actually been typing at all. I think he might have just fallen asleep on the job. Okay. Ace Attorney fashion. Look at my badge! Oh, Mr. Shaw's about this. Shh! Not another word. Oh yes, I see. This will be a collar for a breed of miniature canine with a particularly long neck and for winter use. Dude, I've been wearing this on my arm this whole time. Actually, it's the armband I always wear. That symbolizes my role as a defense lawyer. Ya dingus! Precisely, which leads us to but one conclusion. Your arm is, in fact, the particularly long neck of a miniature canine. Are we talking a giraffe? Like a tiny, tiny giraffe? I'm sorry, I wish I never showed him this. He's barking mad! This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning, by international post. Oh, how lovely! Look at Susie's beautiful handwriting! I wish I could read it! And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case. Really? Oh, isn't she wonderful? A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know. Apparently Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume? Natsume? No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do. We helped the man twice. In fact, you put him in jail. You know, in those two cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago. Ah, the mustache twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and mustache. Feline eyes? He didn't have two mustaches, early. Maybe Hurley needs glasses. Yes, who could forget those two cases? They made a very deep impression on me, but not the name. Although I must confess, the details are a little hazy now. A very deep impression they made on you. Clearly. Maybe it's like the little cats have that little pattern on their little face, like around their nose that looks like a mustache, but it isn't really. So what was the startling news penned by Miss Susato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Ah yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. He's forgotten. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago, for what purpose? You remember that McGilded case? Yeah, this could be a repeat of that. Do you have one? Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggests that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. Ew. On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Miss Susato's father questioned him about the case. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram. Oh, that case, yes! It was very strange, wasn't it? Yes. And I compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then earlier, it was all funny about it, remember? He was very vain. That story must not be published, you said. Very mysteriously as well. Really? I said that? Are you sure? Are you gaslighting? Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Mrs. Sato was suddenly told 4 months ago she had to return? Tell me your secrets, detective boy. It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan. Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. Cat, do you have a mustache? Blink once for yes, twice for no. Oh no, she blinked 3 times. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had No, the telegram we got was Susato's dad was sick. And then turns out he's not sick, he's alive. Like, well, rather, he's fully healthy. No. He just said he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead! But according to this letter, the news about her father's fever was just a ruse. A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so she can make the voyage back home. Why would he do that? Oh, why would he do that? I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. I know Susato suggested this in the last case, where it could be that the dad caught on that something was going to happen here in the Ace Attorney London, and he wanted to get her out of there. But whatever it was, why didn't he? Like, if it was dangerous, why am I stuck here? Does he not care about me? She believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder where Miss Susato's father is hiding. Really? Do you know what it's all about? I just imagine like a magical girl transformation from his everyday wear to his detective gear. Ah, well, who can say? You said... Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is surprisingly full today. And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fort of my absence, won't you, Iris? I will, Ellie. Don't worry. See you later. No, wait! Like, we have questions! Stay here! He scuttled off rather quickly there. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Soseki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes. Aha! I found him at last! Iris, are they... The notes about the case? That's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Reno? Yes, please. Thank you, Iris. Ooh. Dramatic music. Let's see what's in there. I have no idea what secrets could be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light. That's a spirit. And so... Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in court that followed. It's a flashback! Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue, and I have all the time in the world. Because of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain! Oh, wait, is it because the whole... You played Government Secrets... That little music box? It was 6 months ago, a mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. I remember this. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick, and nobody saw her attack her. But... Oh, have a good night, Virgil. Thanks for tuning in. By a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes, that prick! Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation! Was the man's reaction after the trial. But his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart at once! Maybe she... Oh boy, she witnessed something. So Sasato-san and I summoned a hand... Is that another word for carriage? Sorry, hold on. Hansom. A two-wheeled horse-drawn carriage accommodating two inside. Oh. What is that statue? Oh, there's a rat! Part of me is like, how cute. Like, it's so cute, and also, wait a minute! There's rats in a hospital? There you are at last. Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. I think not. Oh. You're late! What on earth took you so long? Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital. That's right, it is 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I have been waiting for what felt like an eternity. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. And feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at such an hour, I sent one to you. Thanks. Anyway, you're here now, so... The victim is over there. She's only just regained consciousness. She's so cute! And really short. Unless it's because she's sitting down. Wait, you should introduce yourself and I shall observe from here. Her name is... Ah yes, here we are. Miss Green. This looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. People need to eat! You really want her to starve? What is this place, a zoo? You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign in our local park. For the pigeons. This is a person. Poor woman, I hope she hasn't read this. That must be a bag of Miss Green's personal belongings. She would have been brought directly here after she was found stabbed on the pavement, though. I expect a friend or family member probably brought some things for her. Alright, let's see what's inside. Change of clothes, no doubt, and she's right there! No, Mr. Naruhodo, you must never scrutinize a young maiden's personal belongings. Plus, genders aside, that's an invasion of privacy. And she's right there. The young maiden might have chocolate. Are you hungry? Also, look at the rat. Eat! A mouse, Mr. Naruhodo. An enormous mouse. Oh, I thought it was a rat. Vermin in a hospital? That doesn't seem the best. It looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump. Are you considering a career change? Like animal testing? I'm not sure we can say that's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you were thinking. There are lots of bottles in that cabinet, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to keep them like that? I don't think so. Like, if there's an earthquake, or if the nurse has to grab something, or doctor has to grab something, he's like, excuse me, patient, can you move? Oh wait, you're bedridden and can't move. Okay. If you were a patient here, I feel sure you'd take some medicine by mistake when you were half asleep. That's a worry. But at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's only a flimsy-looking one. Oh, I have no doubt you've managed to unlock that somehow while you were asleep half asleep as well. There are limits even to what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know. I'm not a lockpick. I'm guessing this is the chamber pot. This rounded wooden... Wooden? I thought it was gold! This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it? I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an artist mannequin, I believe. Used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses. Oh, she's an artist! I think? Really? It's not exactly what you call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it? Depends on the model depends on the model or people you like drawing. No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before. I don't know if we have those today, but it'd be nice to have, since a lot of the art, like drawing figurines, I have one. It's like a stereotypically thin. Look, there's a photograph in this frame here. Oh! Oh yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman. I'm assuming either that's her brother, since they look very... like, there's no color, so... they look very alike, so maybe... I don't know, if it's colored and if we see the guy in full color and he looks exactly like her, then a relative. Or if it turns out that his colored form looks nothing like her, like say he has, I don't know, orange hair, maybe friend or husband or classmate. He looks to be about the same age as Miss Green. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think? My, Mr. Naruhodo. I didn't know you had a sense for matters of the heart. Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. Is there anything else I can look at? What the heck? There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet. Look. I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in the reach of everyone like this. Can we read the red writing? Yes, you're right. I can't imagine if you were peckish, you'd try a whole bottle or two. At least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors. I don't imagine I would stop you if you were hungry. Hunger does not make you a lockpick. That too. Also, we're not going to talk about the... fine. We won't look at it then. Looks like treatment notes for whoever's occupying this bed. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital. Is this for Sholmes in the future? The patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so... he or she or they is probably running around the hospital. Oh dear. How worrying. What's worrying is why they haven't discharged the patient yet. Let's talk to the lady. Good morning. Oh, her little hair bun looks like a paintbrush. Hello, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Oh no, was it your knife that? Are you the man who... No, I'm a lawyer. Also, what's that key on your neck? And I'm Susato Mikotoba. Pleased to meet you. Oh no, was it your knife then? Are you the one? No, I assure you, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you regained consciousness and wanted to come to give you our best wishes. Best wishes? For me? Thank you. Oh my god, I just realized, like, if memory serves right, her name is Olive Green. Originally I thought it was because she had a green jacket, but no, it's more like for the color, she's a painter, so the paint olive green. I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist. No, that's not right, is it? What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist. You're still an artist to me. How old is she? 20. Oh, dang, she's young. Well, what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. Oh! True that I don't have any talent. I know I don't. Wait. Okay, one, she just regained consciousness, so I don't think she got the full details of what happened yet. Two, Olive! Practice, practice, practice! It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back. I don't think that's related. Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down. Reminds me of me! Like, way back when my self-esteem was in the pits. It still is, but I'm sort of slowly getting better. Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective. Oh. I was gonna do the show her your badge. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green. It was so cold that day. The fog was so thick. I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. The case has been solved, hasn't it? Well, I've been in the hospital, I mean. Where'd you... Oh. Oh, right, you were hiding somewhere. Indeed it has, my dear madam. Spectacularly by none other than not you. You didn't do shit! Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved the case. Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green? Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly. Oh, I see. Sorry, I'm just, In the case... Okay, so in the case someone survives a crime and they awake, say, in the hospital, is it usually the doctors or the authorities who have to fill them in? Or relatives or anyone who visits? Me coming around seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should have never regained consciousness. It was selfish. Green! Greenie! Don't be like that! Oh no, we're also relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are. That kind of attitude. Maybe her surname should be You're mean! So, you're an artist, aren't you, Miss Green? Oh no! I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I wonder what that key goes to. I mean, I'm a student of art, really. At the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts. Taffa? Oh my. An Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country. Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts? Oh, no, actually. I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road. I see. How very interesting. Like a college dorm flat? Oh no, is it? Brixton is some 10 stops away on the underground from here. And Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton Town Centre. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not, but Briar Road is a far less salubrious part of town by comparison, dwelt in by those of inferior means. Inferior means? Okay, that's just rude. Also, do I have a map? Okay, Brixton is nowhere to be seen. I still have this. Inferior means. I suppose Soseki-san does fit them. Okay, you're mean too. Not just to Olive Green, but to Soseki. It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine art student to be walking in such a district. Excuse me. That is all. What's this? She suddenly clammed up. Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself, prying into a young maiden's private affairs. Wahahaha! Oh dear me, do forgive me. If you don't mind. I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things. Oh yes, of course, we won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green. Are you being discharged before or after the authorities come in to talk? Is there a Mr. Narrow Fodder here? Mr. Narrow Fodder! Narrow Fodder now? Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but... Mr. Narrow Fodder! Good! This is for you! It's a message from Mr. Saucy Nutmeg. Sosuke Natsume. Mr. Natsume sent a message to me? Singing telegram for you! But why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume? Is he still in jail? Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time? Ebiscatch, hey! How you doing tonight? Hope you're doing well. I'm playing a quote-unquote forbidden case from Ryunosuke's Path. Oh yeah, my teeth. Yeah, the wisdom teeth removal, I'm doing alright. Like, there was a weird, yeah, okay, for starters, at first I got the teeth removed, like, fully conscious, because I drove myself to the, like, oral surgeon. I didn't really feel like asking someone to give me a ride. And the removal, like, they numbed my mouth and everything, and it was a lot shorter than I expected. Granted, it was just one tooth, but it was, like, basically just put stuff in my mouth. It's like, okay, there's the wisdom tooth. We're gonna have to tilt your head this way, and you're done. And I just went, wait, that's it? And then in the recovery, I didn't feel that much, like, too much pain. I don't feel much pain now, and I was mostly keeping the ice packs on and off, like the dentist suggested, to, like, reduce swelling. My biggest gripe, like, well, two gripes, I guess. One, when I did research on, like, what happens with you when your wisdom teeth are removed. A lot of reports were saying that there's a lot of pain. I wasn't feeling anything, so I was thinking, is something wrong with me? Why aren't I feeling any pain in my mouth? And the second gripe was that I had to eat soft foods for a while, and soft foods are not filling. Like, I would eat and it's like, God damn it, I'm hungry. Oh yeah, it was just the one tooth. Like, originally I thought I had to get all four removed, but the surgeon sort of knows, like, I only had one wisdom tooth in my skull, so they took care of that. But yeah, so far it's recovery's going all right. Really looking forward to the full recovery because I miss filling solid foods. I don't want to feel hungry like every 2 hours again. Like, granted, mashed potatoes and applesauce are good, but they're not filling. And I went through those pretty fast. How far they need? Oh yeah, good point. Like, for me, the tooth was, like, slightly, like, it was sort of impacted, but slightly poking out a little bit to the point where food would get stuck in it, so maybe that was a factor. I don't know. I'm not a dentist or oral surgeon, I'm sorry. What's the Scotland Yard constable doing here? Ah, what are you waiting for? Let me see that! Wait, it's addressed to me, not you. Well, this is most unexpected. Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note? I just got the note. It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. New case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once. Murder? Call a cab. Time is of the essence. But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I don't think we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once we did. That would be entirely convenient. Convenient? It's all here in the note, my dear fellows. I didn't even read it! The murder we must investigate. This dude. First he's in court, accused of murder. Now there is a murder in his house! Wait, what? I'll heal a fiacre? Fiacre? At once. Huh. Oh. It doesn't, what's, I don't know, like, teeth aren't really my, like, thing, but they are pretty fast, they can be pretty fascinating, and hold on just 1 second. Sorry, anyway, then again, I think my tooth, it actually, I think my wisdom tooth erupted years ago, maybe in, I think, maybe I first noticed it sometime in like the early, either mid or early 2010s, but it barely hurt and it didn't really do much, so I just like didn't pay it any mind until recently where it started like growing a bit more and my teeth were feeling a little like slightly annoying and it's like, okay, I should probably get this looked at. It was only yesterday that Soseki-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address? He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time. But we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. How much worse? The other thing I was a little, yeah, like, the words. Someone else I spoke to about, like, getting wisdom teeth removal before I had to get the one tooth taken out. They said that they were in a lot of pain, and depending on how you're feeling, you might be prescribed pain medications. One might have a narcotic in it. And I got both those pain meds prescribed, but I never used them. And that was sort of adding to me, that sort of added to my, wait a minute, aren't I supposed to be feeling pain? Aren't I supposed to be using those? Is something wrong with me? Like, I remember having the same kind of worry when, similar worry when I think I was recovering from top surgery. It's like, wait a minute, the doctor said I'm healing really fast. Is that normal? And I don't know, maybe it's because I sort of assume it's, like, recovery is supposed to be slow, especially when you're older, so hearing it goes a little faster, it just kind of threw me off a bit. Superhuman. Yeah, I joked that, like, if I Deadpool, but I talked to some friends of mine and they joked that I might not be Deadpool, but maybe if I had a character sheet, my character has really high constitution. Whoa! Speaking of constitution, this guy just lost all of his. What on earth? My, the gentleman's deceased without question. He's dead. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Mr. Natsume. Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just got out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And then I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Wait, is this... Wasn't your room full of books? Where the heck is this room? Whoa, worm! Without! Wiggle! Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache. Not the horrible airlock Sholmes. Shoo! Shove off! Show yourself the door! I never invited you! Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume. I'm entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you? Get out! Grrr. Hey! Fish and chips! Here they are already, the busybodies. Ah, Inspector Gregson, what a pleasant surprise! How pleasant is it? Give me heartburn every time I see your face on a grocery shelf. I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. It could be one factor. Good morning, Inspector. This This is a crime scene! Don't you go touching anything! Or good morning to you too, sunshine. You heard the man, touch everything! Oi, I said hands off! You're gonna mess up a crime scene! No, I just wanted to look, that's all. No chance, I know you're kind. Racist? I'll mess it up just by looking at it. Someone's in a bad mood. There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there? Wahaha! Okay, sounds like I better talk to the inspector first. Let's talk to him first. What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences. I wonder what... I don't know, like, I feel like... I wonder in the Japanese version of this game, what is he shouting when he does those? Like, single syllables or... like, poems? So the victim lived here on the ground floor and your room was just one story up. Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose. Did you know the victim? Is that a yes? Is that a yes? What's the matter with Soseki-san now? It was an instant enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it? Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. Okay, sorry, I think the reason he's got all freaked out is like, wait a minute, we knew each other. Does that make me a suspect? But did he ever invite me to his room? No! On my honor, I swear it. What an extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? I kinda have to! It's an investigation. When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. Throw that inspector over there! Okay. So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he? What? William Shakespeare! Really? He was a lodger here. As you can probably tell, I was an actor. A bit of a dead loss. They're just dead. Shakespeare. Mr. Shakespeare. What was his best work? Romeo and Juliet? It was the landlord, Mr. Garadev, and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. The fella didn't rise at his usual hour, so Garadev got worried and kicked the door down. Doesn't he have a cane? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Oh yeah, you're right there. It was that jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking. I'm pretty sure he can hear you. Really? Soseki-san? You could be stronger than he looks. Victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in this house. Miserable life and a miserable end to it. Everyone's mean! So, what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so could you have sent him away? Well, I'm not saying it's because the fellow looks odd or anything. Or that he acts suspicious. Or that I'm racist. But I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the cult. Racist? Cohabita? You nearly said culprit there, didn't you? Oh dear. Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again. It certainly seems that way. He does come across just as an odd fellow, doesn't he? Poor man. How unfortunate. Anyway, I can't say much till the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella's been gone that long. Body's still warm. Oh boy. Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. What are you doing? I think there's supposed to be fish and chips. I don't remember. I don't know when fish and chips were invented, but maybe they had them back then. Also, the way he's positioned, the way his hand is positioned, looks like he's, I don't know, trying to do something with that spider web. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Ha! You need only observe to know, my dear fellow. Investigating, naturally. Or putting on a play. There's nothing natural about that pose. Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery? Patience, my dear madam. Patience. We've not been here in this room 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened. Knowing this, dude, I'm gonna have to fix all of his problems in this deduction. My goodness. But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes? Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way. At the present time, I have managed to draw 2 incontrovertible conclusions. The first, that there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life. Really? Nothing? Like, granted, the room looks very just, like, old and tattered, but I don't see. Is it really a struggle? Ah! Why is everyone so close up? Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant? No, don't mind me. Forget I was here. His eyes twitching. And my second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips. I'd say there was poison in the food or in the goblet, because you notice, if you had a brain, you notice the guy is holding a fork. You okay, buddy? Alright, Miss Natsume, why are you acting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions? Okay, for some reason that face and with that that teeth is kind of creepy. Also, I'm guessing he's reacting like this way because it was these exact same deductions that got him in jail. No, please, pretend I'm not here. Invisible, ineffable, inscrutable, insignificant. Impossible to ignore. You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail. But of course, the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions, presented for your pleasure in 2 acts. We've heard some truly astounding great deductions. Crappy ones at that. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time? So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Sherlock Sholmes is Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. Before that. Oh yeah, speaking of, there was an instant at the beginning of this case where Sholmes got extremely close to the camera and it made me uncomfortable. The game is afoot. Also, are we okay. Because of the whole poison talk in this case, in the previous case, part of me is wondering, what if there was some sort of, what if he's not really dead? Like, either he ingested some sort of poison that makes you look dead, but not really, like in Romeo and Juliet, or since he is Shakespeare, or maybe he's just sleeping and no one noticed. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Foam at the mouth of the clearly deceased indicates the use of poison. You okay there, buddy? Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of a sizable bar of soap. I thought it was cheese. Very green cheese. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is the soap set so purposefully upon the dish? Like the victim's last supper, in fact. Yes. Could it be the man was about to eat? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. He's looking at the camera like, are you hearing this shit? Also, if it really was the fork, shouldn't there be punctures in the soap bar? Got me. Yeah, I'm just hoping he doesn't get close to the camera again. It appears that the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up his arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end, he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast. But London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. If that was the case, wouldn't everyone be dead? Someone's heart rate slows. Huh. Maybe? Could. Huh. Maybe this dude is one of those, like, really slow heartbeat guys. Also, like, is this really a bar of soap? The soap and the lather about the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. The lather I can agree with, but is it really from the soap, or... I don't know. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. Though personally, I have a greater interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course. Whatever you do, do not invent candle wax potato chips or chips. Suicide or murder. The cause of death identified. We proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? Oh yeah, like... I guess aside from heartbeat, I'm trying to remember the others. Was it breathing? Shining a light in someone's eyes? As long as they aren't as jumpy as Soseki's. Also, this angle, I don't know, but this camera angle of Herlock Sholmes, it looks really nice. Like, it kind of makes me want to try a redraw, but I don't know. The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? This single teacup suggests the answer. What would that spill on the table? To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover up his tracks. Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Uh-oh. I didn't see that. Oh wait, no, that was from when Soseki kicked the door down. What reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock! Though forced open now at the time of the incident, this door was locked. And the sole key was in the victim's pocket. In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Alone with his inferior soap from whence wafted an inferior scent. And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end. In tragic solitude. We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on its way. This concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' Great Deduction. I remember the very first case I met him, and I didn't like this dude. And then during the final case of the first game, it was like, he's just so gosh dang wacky, and now I'm back to not liking him. Mr. Sholmes, that was bullshit. You tell him! Come on, Gregson, you tell him! There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You are disposed to identifying just one thing, aren't you, Naruhodo? Pray, what concerns you? No matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have eaten soap? It's quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. Is it... Okay, granted, he might not have much money, but All these costumes? Maybe he had some money. This is a curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap can suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing. How? Unless you have pica, maybe? How extraordinary. In true as I have tried to Is that how you wound up like this? You've eaten it, you mean? My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut. And did it? As I writhed in agony on the floor and spilled the contents of my stomach. Yes, I believe it did. That's one way to do it, but it's painful. The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it. Believe me, I wouldn't eat it, even if you did. There's something that troubles me as well, actually. What's that? It's Mr. Natsume. Yeah, he's been acting kind of suspicious. Or sus, as the kids would say. Yeah. I couldn't help noticing him shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye. Almost as if Mr. Sholmes' deductions touched a nerve somehow. Again, I feel like it has to do with, it was those deductions that first got him in jail. And he was clearly innocent. Nonsense. Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last. I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the Great Detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth. Yes, Mr. Sholmes' bullshit are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it in at an obtuse angle. Your hammering skills stink! When he does that, it falls to us to straighten it out. Alright, let's see what we can do. Yes, we must pick out the key words in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions, and discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place. In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Sherlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1, Encore. I'm gonna not read some of this since it's mostly a repeat. Boom! Well, you can't deny that a fork implies the man was eating something, or about to eat something. Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soup, I should prefer to use a fork than to attempt it with chopsticks. And of course, only half of the bar of soap is left on the plate. But might there not be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether or not the man really ate soap? This is all I can look at. Suppose you use soap with a fork. I don't think it's a question of which implement you'd use. You shouldn't need soap full stop. Then why? Why does he have a fork in his hand? Oh dear, I understand your frustration, Miss Naruto, but please don't take it out on me. The point is, if we decide the man used this fork to eat the soap, we wouldn't be changing Mr. Sholmes' deduction. So we really ought to consider some other clues. Can I... Okay. Oh, okay, I can't look at this. Do you think he was drinking tea with his soap? The cup's empty, so there's no way of knowing. Ah, how about this for an idea? Perhaps the cup was full of water, and he was dissolving soap in it so he could go... Whatever happened to don't eat soap? Please remember that he may not actually have been the soap lover that he's been made out to be. So what? Oh, I can't look at that on the floor. Is there really nothing else I can look at? I can't look at the fork. I can't look at the bowl. The thing on the floor.
Take
maybe?
that!
Fuck! Empty teacup within arm's reach of the victim. Clearly, if poison was the cause of death, the possibility. My dear fellow, possibilities are endless. The question we are currently pondering is whether or not this red-faced looking victim ate the soap. Butter, cheese, or soap? It's like what does this look like? And all three options are horrible. Some soap on a plate and a fork in hand. Surely wouldn't try it. That's what we must determine. Was the victim eating soap when he died or not? Talk about a slippery problem. Okay, it's not. That's. Fine, what if? Fuck! Or fork, should I say. That answer you have right my reasoning anyway. Oh yes, that's true. As a logician, you will never surpass me. The science of deduction analysis requires long and patient study. Oh, fork you! This is what you get for agreeing with someone. I already looked at the teacup. I can't look at anything else. Wait, other piece of soap? Where? Oh. I thought that was part of the thing, like part of the little head thing, like purple thing. This person was just weird. Mr. Shamspear must have really loved this stuff. He was weird. Let's not jump to conclusions, Mr. Naruhodo. Look closely at it. Do you see that it would fit together perfectly with the half bar on the table? What the? How can that be? I think that they are two halves of the same bar that broke apart.
Take that!
Please! Yes! Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course. The other piece of soap reveals the answer. It being the other half of the soap on the table. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all. But it's obvious relief, for no depths of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap. Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite. It begs the question of how the man was poisoned. There's no sign of any food on the table. You already ate it? An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and one that furnishes us with the answer we seek. I still think it has to do with the spill mark on the table. Mr. Sholmes is pushing the soap argument. Perhaps he's suggesting the man licked the soap rather than ate it. Is this... Are we going with Christmas story shenanigans where it's like, the kid had to put a soap in his mouth because he said a bad word and he had a fantasy of, like, Mom, Dad, Mom, Dad, I'm blind because of all the soap you made me put in my mouth. Is this that kid's dream but taken to an extreme? If soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I want to wash my hands with it. There are no signs of any food in this room at all. Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it? Again, liquids! Western vessel for the serving of infusions of dried tea leaves. It's a teacup, Mr. Naruhodo, as you well know. Stop putting on airs. And it's empty. So we've already established that the victim wasn't eating soap when he died. However, there's significant evidence to suggest he was drinking tea. My thoughts exactly.
Take that!
Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the teacup. Indeed, cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the centuries. And it would appear that this victim drank every last drop. You okay there, buddy? There's no sign of food anywhere in this room. Which leads us to a mutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to ingestion of poison contained in the teacup. That is a long way of just saying that he drank poison. Which reminds me, I saw someone like do a review of this game, and thank God it was spoiler free. But they brought up something that I have to agree with, that for some reason the characters, they like to like, why say something in 10 words when you can say it in 100 words? It's already featured heavily in our deductions. 0 punctuation? Mr. Shamspear was having a drink of tea! There would be nothing remarkable about that, but what troubles me is Mr. Natsume's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholmes suggest it. There's more to this deduction than it seems. We must closely examine the scene of the crime again. Oh, there's another one! It's another Western vessel for... It's a teacup! Thank you! And it too is empty. Given that he's actually holding this one in his hand, you can assume that this is the cup from which Mr. Shamspear was actually drinking. And there's a crack in it! If that's the case, this changes everything. Everything we've deduced up till now is turned on its head. Uh-oh. Was Natsume here having tea with him?
Take that!
Did the man dine and die alone? This other teacup suggests the answer. Yes, there were 2 teacups in this room all along. Ah! In other words, this is a strong indication that at the victim's last supper... is that Bruce Fairplay? The banker? At the very least, we can now say with certainty that somebody else was here in this room last night, taking tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable. To draw a conclusion, I said... You know who was in this room at the time of the victim's death? Oh, this again. I'm not sure I like where this deduction is going now. I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much soap. But the identity of the guest who was here last night when the victim passed away... Oh yeah, it's okay. So okay, scratch. Okay, the first one person I heard that saying from was it was zero punctuation, also Jello Apocalypse word. Like, just say your thing in 5 words or less. You don't have to make it 500. It's something I have a very bad feeling about. Well, you can try to ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. Suppose not. Time to look around. Even Mr. Shamspear didn't eat candle. I still can't get over the name. We've already established that he didn't eat soap either. Do you think perhaps the guest brought this candle here last night? Even if he, she, they did, does it reveal anything about the guest's identity? Good point. There goes my idea. Snuffed out like the candle. If you sigh so deeply, Mr. Naruhodo, you'll be in danger of blowing out the flame. The latch is most definitely broken, isn't it? The door was kicked in by Mr. Natsume, according to Mr. Garadeb. Excuse me. Who knew his short, thin looks can be deceiving, Ryunosuke. I'm not sure the length of his legs is in any way significant here. Seriously, Ryunosuke, like this, you're looking at a girl who looks very delicate, but she can throw your ass in a millisecond. Perhaps it says more about the poor state of the door than about Mr. Natsume's strength, actually. Oh, come on! Careful, if you overheard that remark, he'd almost certainly have a lively response. I'll kick your kneecaps! I don't know. Can this broken lock really tell us anything about who is here? Hold the phone! At first glance, it seems that the only things in this room are the makeshift stage and the costumes. Man, what? I overlooked these 3 books initially. I wonder what they are. Let's see, the titles read... I fucking knew it. Wait, I'm sure I've heard those titles before. It could just be an incredible coincidence, but... You're the exact same 3 books Mr. Natsume purchased the other day. Nani? On the day of the unfortunate incident when Miss Green was stabbed. Sounds like his son had just been to a bookshop and bought them. And now those 3 titles are here in this room. Yet Mr. Natsume claims to have never been here before. Natsume, you got a lot of explaining to do. What does this mean? I don't know what to make of it. So what is this? Wrong button! Sorry! I know it's wrong, blah 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 blah. Well, my guess, I can run the conjectures, I guess. Shut up, Holmes, I made a mistake! Or Holmes, I pressed the wrong button. I just want to look at it. It's empty. Empty of liquid, but full of air. It makes you think, doesn't it? It makes me think that you're full of air. You should think about who was in the room. Oh, bother. Sasato's quip in response was cleverer than my original riddle.
Take that!
Indeed. What reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books. Quite so! It's no mere coincidence these 3 tiles are here in this room. It's the link to the truth. Also, hold on. Quick water break, cause my throat. Put that there. A little closer. Recalibrate VTube too, just in case. Hey. Hey. Mr. Natsume, you purchased those books 4 days ago at the secondhand bookshop. Wait, 4? That was 3! Oh, okay, I misread that. I thought he said 4 books. Coincidence. In that case, you'll be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? This very moment. No, never, non-negotiable! If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. So you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that. In other words, you could only have brought these 3 books here to the victim's room. Snap, 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 snap. Oh god. Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. In short, there is only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in his room last night as a result of poisoning. And that same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor... was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Thus concludes the final act of Airlock Sholmes' Great Deduction. Not again, not again, not again! Not again! Well then, Mr. Natsume. We're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard again. But wait! Hold your horses! Yes. Door! Key! Locked! Entry! Exit! Entirely impossible! He's so flustered he's even being stranger than normal. What, you think that's an alibi? Could have just made a copy. Wait. You live in the same building after all. You'd have plenty of opportunity, I'm sure. Would they? Mr. Misery Me! Sorry, sir. You'll get your chance to give your side of the story later. Those facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache. You horrible Airlock Sholmes. He really has found himself an arch rival now. I have to poop when it won't come out! Come on now, no dilly-dallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting. Welcome to the Naruhodo Esquire. I never imagined I'd be in this position again, but... you have to help me! Please! Please! I'm innocent! Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it. One more thing! Yes? My poor little kid. Wakahi! Please give him his breakfast for me! And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken. Soseki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective. And you! Naruhodo kind of added to it. My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you! See? Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. I can examine the crime scene in more detail now. We had to sacrifice Soseki in order to look around. Oh yes, that's right. And, of course... What? Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garadeb, who discovered Mr. Shamspear. Mr. John Garadeb, yes. I expect we could find him in his sitting room on the top floor as usual. Buck. I think it was Wagahai, which, interestingly enough, I did a little digging on Toseki Natsume, and I think Wagahai, the phrase, I think it's supposed to be an extremely formal way of saying, like, referring to yourself, like, in, like, me, myself, and I kind of way. And it was an extremely formal way of doing it, and it was in a poem about cats, so that would probably explain why the cat is named Wagahai. Also about the cat, it's I don't know, like, I think the cat is supposed to be a dude, but in the end credits of the first game, when Soseki was going back to Japan, he said he had Wagahai's babies, so maybe Wagahai was taking care of kittens. Right, we must remember to go and talk to him later then. Quick, look at everything! This is some sort of makeshift stage, I think, isn't it? Where does the audience sit, though, for the nightly Shakespeare performances? So Shakespeare does exist, and is no one drawing the conclusion, like, wait a minute, this dude's name is Shamspear, and we have Shakespeare plays? Actors aspiring to the great stage must practice their arts, Mr. Naruhodo, with or without an audience. In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office. Nanny? Then you could practice your art every single day. I'll think about it. If you promise to turn up here. Judge Susato! Well, if that would help you achieve your goal, this I have to see. Gas lamps? This is a gas wall light, isn't it? Must be connected to a gas pipe in the wall. Gas lights, a gas stove. London really is a city of gas. Excuse me, I farted. Now that I think about it, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb had an open fire on the top floor, didn't they? Does Sherlock... Good question. Herlock Sholmes is here, but... Oh yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there. Well, I much prefer a real fire anyway. It's so much cozier. Examine everything but the body. And here we have another disproportionately large machine. Looks like a safe. Looks like a meter of some kind. Ah, this is a gas meter, I think. It seems that in this district, residents pay for gas as they use it with coin. Really? Okay, I saw the lock on it, so I thought it was a safe. But... interesting. I didn't know it's like you put in... It's like a vending machine. You put in coins and you get gas. Let's see. Now that you pointed it out, I can see that there's a slot just here that looks like it would take a coin. So you mean if you put a coin in here... That's right. That would buy about 2 hours of gas for lights and heating. So if you're a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold. Can the machine tell if you're putting in coins? Because let's say you put in something like oh look, I have this random shard of plate that just broke off. That's conveniently coin size. Maybe I can put it in there and get some free gas. If you're a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank. Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. Look at the pantaloons! Oh yeah, the window tax. As we see from the outside, the window is completely bricked up. A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay. What strange things they use a tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property. It's extraordinary. It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Just wait in the future, it's gonna... Oh. What is it, Miss Susato? If you look closely, a number of the bricks are oh yeah, I see 3 of them. Bars of soap? It looks like an amateur has just broken out a few of them just here. Is it Mr. Shamster who did it? Being the lodger renting this room? Look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. On the outside, there's a little ledge. And there's something on it. Maybe they were using that as like a delivery system? Like, sir, I brought your soap! Okay, slide it through the window! What window? Hold on a sec! Thank you! What, outside? Why are you at the soap store? It's so cold outside. You can feel it through the gap. It did snow all last night. It'd be cold. I can also imagine you like using those bricks as like God, the air in here is horrible. I need fresh air. Ah. But more importantly, what is it on the ledge out there? What are those snow-covered lumps? Soap? It's more bars of soap. What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window? I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that. Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window. I think perhaps we should take one. There are 2 after all. Oh dear, I suppose we could... what's this? Look here at the soap! Ah! Oh! There's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but some sort of fancy design, I think. Only in Great Britain! Looks like the Hinomaru flag of Japan. Like if you made it was a little, if you made the green a little different. It's probably a very expensive brand. Expensive? What's it doing in this ramshackle old room? Look at these extravagant, bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room with its grim, shady goings-on. This one looks like a king's attire. A king? I've always dreamt of being a king. Quick, Ryunosuke, play dress-up! Oh, I think you'd be more suited to a feudal lord. A daimyo or such like. With a chonmage? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Chonmage top knot. Every Japanese man wishes he had a chonmage. Oh, you look wonderful with one, and you already have that sword. Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with a chonmage and a sword? Before looking at the buddy... Saving... There he is. 31. He's my age! This part is a different color. It's an exquisite design, isn't it? Trust the British turned a boring bar of soap into something special. I quite like it. It reminds me of the Hinomaru design in the Japanese flag. What if you remove that brown piece and there was something underneath? That doesn't seem likely given who it belongs to. Yeah, I'm 31. Fine, we'll look at the body. H buddies, hey! Oh, the poor man. So young to die. Do you suppose it was a very painful death, being poisoned as he was? We don't know what poison it was. I don't know. All I can do now is hope he'll be reborn to a better life. Yes, I suppose you're right. I wonder. Do you think that putting our hands together in Japanese prayer will help a British soul? Shouldn't we be focusing on the body? Sorry? I made sure I had a reference at the ready for just an occasion as this, actually. This book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Praying for the Departed, the British Way. I'll just reread it now. One moment. There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there? Really? There's nothing? That's all? Okay, fine, we'll move. She says we need to do a little more investigating. So... There's not much on these shelves, is there? Just a wine glass and bottle. And both of them are cracked. Yeah, not much use, are they? What's the matter? Oh, I was just reminded of the Reaper, that's all. Oh yeah, he's constantly throwing bottles. Sorry. He's so reckless with his wine glasses. I was thinking it's a waste that he should donate some to the needy. You can suggest it next time we meet. Oh, what? What's this? Looks like... Yeah, I was about to say it's part of an I was thinking either part of an envelope or some part of stained glass. Yes, I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened. Is that significant? Oh yeah, the leg, man! Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps. When we look around the room, there's no sign of a letter, or the rest of the envelope, in fact, is there? She's right. And yet here we have the torn off end of an envelope. Or envelope. It just strikes me as unusual. I agree. We should take this just in case. Anything else? One of the teacups that Mr. Shamspear and his guests drank from last night. But don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's bitter poison inside. I'm not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, the cups are both empty. That's true. So, one was Mr. Shamspear's, and the other must be the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from. So Seki-san wasn't poisoned, though. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later. Oh, they're both cracked. Looks like you have a good snoop around here, eh? Oh! Inspector Gregson! Back so soon? After I threw that little Japanese fella in the clink, I went and reported this to the investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be cordoned off by the yard. Oh, I see. Well, we better be leaving then. Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low, being back in a cell again so soon. Before that... Whoever opened this envelope didn't bother with a letter opener or scissors, did they? Yes, whoever opened it was clearly someone with an unrefined temperament. And judging from the angle of the rip here, the person in question must have been right-handed. This is Sato. I think perhaps someone's been reading too much of the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. You can never read too much from Mr. Naruhodo. Never! This must be the cup that Mr. Shamspear was drinking from then. It's stained on the inside. Tea does that, I'm afraid. Even green tea. Yeah, that's why. Like, I've seen a few mugs, like, that have, like, the insides are white, and sometimes you get a little stained. So I think, like, I've always assumed it's coffee, but I guess it could also be tea as well. Oh, really? Never noticed before. You never noticed? Well, I've never leave it in the cup long enough to leave a mark. I like to gulp it down. I chug it in one swig. Drink tea while it's hot. That's the Japanese way, isn't it? As long as it isn't scalding hot. Oh dear. So many people seem to have the wrong idea about our culture. And most of them are Japanese. This is the teacup from which Mr. Natsume was drinking. Yeah. Unlike the other one, the inside of the cup is completely clean. Either he didn't drink any, or he did the Naruhodo thing of just, like, chugging it. I suppose he must have drunk the contents before the tea had a chance to leave a mark. Or maybe he got something else, like maybe water? I always gulp it down, too. Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, if you just sip it little by little, it goes cold. Water? Oh wait, no, tea, never mind. Clearly I have to instruct you in the proper way to take tea. Also, okay, maybe it's because I'm a little too cautious, but drinking from a cracked teacup, wouldn't that be dangerous? Um, 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 um. Zombie! Kill it! Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player. That struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Can we get Natsume out of jail now? He's alive. Now, how soundeth the next part? It is a tale, told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Indeed! Oh, happy day! Walking Dead! Zombie! The fella isn't dead at all! What was that nonsense he was saying, though? I think... Yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth... Crap, I don't think... Oh, bollocks. I don't think I ever studied Macbeth. Like, when I was in college, it was only... What were the Shakespeare plays? Shakespeare plays I remember studying or looking into, like, throughout my life were Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Midsummer Night's Dream, and... I think Othello was also another one, but I can't recall. It's been so long ago. A soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5. Shakespeare. So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shakespeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment. And Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime. Whatever that now was. Can we at least get Natsume out of the jail? He isn't dead, because the guy isn't dead. Whatever do you think will happen now? Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume. Arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life. Wake me up! Wake me up inside! I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely that Mr. Shakespeare did consume poison as we deduced. But was it an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody. I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Sorry, I'm remembering the Jello Apocalypse. Like, you kidnap people! Can we arrest... That's a crime! Can we at least arrest him for crimes? Sorry, Edgeworth, the only crime here is murder. What's this? What's that man doing over there? It looks like he's trying to see into Soseki-san's lodgings. Wasn't Soseki on the... Wait. Was Soseki on the first floor or second floor? I can't remember. Excuse me, can we have a word? He just ran off. His head shook like a bobblehead. I feel sure I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it? It was in the middle of the investigation of the Olive Green case where we left the Soseki lodgings and all of a sudden two weirdos appeared out of nowhere. One of those weirdos being Shakespeare. The bars! With the exception of the top floor where Mr. and Mrs. Garrett live, all the windows are bricked up. Yes, that's because of an old window tax that was charged on the number of windows a property had. In order to pay less tax, the poorer members of society filled in many of their windows. The tax has been abolished, hasn't it? So the windows could all be opened up again. Unfortunately, it would appear that the residents of this district can't afford to pay to have the work done. Yeah, that's a sad state of affairs. Especially for people like poor Mr. Natsume, who has to live all cooped up in a windowless room. I suppose that's the price you pay for living in a very cheap combination. It all feels rather pointless when you put it like that. Can we look at the bars of soap there? Snowman. Why has somebody built a snowman on some sort of pedestal, do you think? Why not? That's not a pedestal, Mr. Naruhodo. That's part of the snowman's body. Really? But it already has a perfectly good body. Oh yeah, wait, wasn't that, like, some places they make snowmen with three balls of snow, others just 2? Well, it's true that British snowmen are usually made with 2 balls of snow. Perhaps this is a foreigner. An American? And now we're looking at him as if he's strange. Poor man, I know how he feels. If anything, it's Japanese and British 2-ball snowmen that are the strange ones, isn't it? After all, real people do have 3 sections. Head, torso, and legs. Do you ever think that perhaps you think about things too much? Judge! Mr. Judge, I prove that my client is innocent and they did not commit the murder. Really? Then who did? Do you want me to just randomly accuse somebody? Like, yes? That guy. How could you do that? That's illegal. You just said I can't. You just said you wanted me to accuse someone, innocent someone without evidence. That's it. We're jailing your client for life. Bye. And yeah. I'm starting to wonder if they just went along the lines of, can we at least arrest this dude for crimes? Sorry. The only crime here is murder. He murdered a ladybug 2 days ago. Guilty, guilty, guilty! There always seems to be a bicycle outside the Garrett residence. I read that bicycles are extremely popular over Great Britain at the moment. That one seems very warped, though. Especially the front wheel. Is that to make it more of a challenge to ride, do you think? Nah, I think someone broke it. No, I'm afraid that may be a result of the rider's incompetence. From the front wheel to be so badly warped, I'm afraid the rider may have been similarly afflicted. There's a good chance Mr. Natsume has been practicing this on bicycle, I think. Oh dear, I fear you may be right. Is that his bike? Also, what do you have to say? Do you know I don't leave this place for some time? Oh dear me, they must be still questioning. Leave her be for a while, okay. Here we are again. The eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode. Oh, thank you for tuning in, Eva. Have a good night. We're here because Mr. Garadeb's the one who discovered the incident this morning. Don't forget. There he is! In his crescent moon head. You chaps, eh? Yes, good morning, sir. Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday. It was quite a trial. As much for Mr. Garadeb as anyone, really. Came straight back here after all the business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more bully nonsense this morning. I wonder, if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garadeb. Yes, I suppose you'd like to know all about that dead loss of an actor chap in the ground floor room. Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they? What? Look at my badge! Mr. Garadeb, could I show you this? Been quite a couple of days, as you can imagine. I'm afraid I'm rather tired. I haven't really got the energy in the old eyeballs, to be honest with you. Some other time, then. Must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what happened. Oh, well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail and starts screaming. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. So I went down and knocked on his door, but no bully answer. And that's when he broke into his room by kicking down the door? Well, I called on that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course. Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour. That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. If 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior, I'd have to kick your door down every morning. Well, you know, better to be safe than sorry and all that. It's just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now? Except it was a sorry situation indeed they found on the far side of the room. Also, what's going on back there? Oh, they're still in disarray. The victim's name is Mr. Shamspear, I believe. Is that right? Yes, William Shamspear. Took the ground floor room 3 months ago now. And how would you describe him? Weird. In a word, destitute. Destitute? Well, let's face it, the only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a bully screw loose. It's hard to choose which category Soseki-san would fall in. Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude. He was doing research as well. Research? Into what? Shakespeare, of course! Shakespeare! Read a few plays of the old bard myself, you know. Romeo and Hamlet. Romeo and Hamlet. That would be an interesting... I kind of want to see that crossover. Like, Romeo falls in love with Hamlet, but he's got a big ball of issues going on. Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright. He's known as Sao in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have already been translated. Sao? It seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually. Of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shamspear would have much in common. Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that. Mr. Naruhodo, really? How rude. I didn't say that out loud, though. After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning? Well, now, must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily, as I remember, and it was completely dark already. That failed actor chap was out at the time. Mr. Garadem knows there was no light from his room or something. Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shamspear got back. And the chap was up until past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end some time after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there. Well, thank you. That was very illuminating. No pun intended. Susato? Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garadeb, you were up here in your room all evening, if I've understood correctly? Not a big fan of stairs. Not with this blasted leg. Then, how is it that you seem to know? Oh! Either his leg is recovering and he can go up and down stairs, or he just has really good ears and can tell one person's footsteps from another. Like growing up, like when I was growing up, there are certain sounds of footsteps that you can tell. Like heavier footsteps, heavier and slow would be my dad's. A little lighter and a little fast would be my mom's, and so on and so forth. That's a very good point. I can't imagine you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Unless he is pressing his ear to the floor. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? I say, I know what you're thinking. Some folly outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants. Why would I? And how do you know, Mr. Garrett? It's the gas, woman. The gas tells me everything. See? Not fart made me sound innocent. The gas. Before that, can I show him any of this? Like, do you recognize this bar of soap? Okay, guess not. How about this? Nope. Yeah. What if I show him a piece from the previous case, like the map? Oh, never mind. He don't care. What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything? Well, you're probably aware the gas is supplied to the buildings by pipes. Did you see that Doctor Who episode where there were ghosts in the gas? Yes, I more or less worked that out. Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside. And the gas company supplies gas to properties via the main. Yes, I understand that too. Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen? Well, obviously the room would get brighter. Exactly, but at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms of the house would dim for a moment. They dim? Why? Oh, sharing the gas. Perhaps because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual. And that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps that are connected to it. That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, right? Yes, of course, because everything's connected to a single supply pipe. Is that supposed to happen, though? It sounds rather undesirable. Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company's pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless, long worn out, and barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite's also true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here and they glow brighter than the rest of the house. Right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere. You've got it. Oh, of course, because when people come back home in the evening before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires. Clever. In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it use slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house. Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garrett. Absolutely fascinating. Oh well, nothing to it, really. I can't really see that's going to help us with the case, either. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Garrett is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. Perhaps we gotta go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again. A good idea. Bye-bye. Is he in the same cell as last time? Looks like it. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you now? Local student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Yes? What is he? Tell me! Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? Let me guess. You're talking about Mr. Sholmes? He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume. Not a ghost. But his diabolic deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me! Cursed! I'm cursed, I tell you! Well, that sort of hurts. Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the deduction, too. Yeah, moving on. We have some wonderful news. Ooh. The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again. Now, in the absolutely worst case, he can only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, right, Mr. Natsume? It's terrible. Oh. I'm stuck in this cell, suffering for some silly wrong end of the stick. You did it, didn't you? You did it, didn't you? Confess! You're a killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions. I'm sorry to hear that. That's selfish shit. Shit. Okay, I know they mentioned there was another word with shy as the first 3 letters that was a slur. I'm not sure if this one... Is this a slur or is it... Let me check. A slang term for someone who acts in a disreputable, unethical, and unscrupulous way. Especially in practice of law, sometimes also political or politics or economics. Okay, so it's just a slang term for person, especially a lawyer, who uses unscrupulous, fraudulent, or deceptive methods in business. Make up your mind! Are you dead or alive? If you are going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly, wishy-washy, William. Well, it seems like Mr. Shamspear was never actually dead in the first place. Oh yes, that might make sense. And I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. I'd be sad to see to think it was our last. Oh, debate? Oops. Mr. Natsume, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with him, didn't you? I'm not saying another word! I demand to have a lawyer present! I am a lawyer! Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story. Why am I cursed like this? Can you tell us exactly what happened last night, then? There's nothing to tell! But, Miss Naruhodo Esquire, I'm eternally grateful for you for helping with that cursed case yesterday. The case that saw poor Miss Green hospitalized. It's hard to believe that was only yesterday. After the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to my lowly lodgings. And that evening, at past 9 it must have been, I visited Mr. Shamspear. So you did go to the victim's room. As we feared. I didn't do anything wrong! I'd never been to his room before! It was the first time! Then, what made you decide to go? I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got chatting and it developed into a discussion. But he had to go out, so I bade him farewell. That ties with what Mr. Gardev said. That he went out and came back after 8. We met again later that evening at around 9 or just after. When I took him some nice tea I'd brewed as a gift that... This might not end well. So it was you who brought the tea that had clearly been drunk at the time? And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you? Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Shakespeare said Romeo and Juliet should be together, and I said, no, that's creepy. Romeo and Juliet, who was the stronger? Oh, I'm sure. Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare. And the debate became very heated, so he slipped. Reno's case! Shut up. So you slipped poison in Mr. Shamspear's tea? No, never, not at all. Team Juliet won, that was me. And when I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit. I swear it, categorically. Team Juliet. Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence. I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in that time I've learned that it's no place for me. It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture. There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me! They all laugh! Racism, yay! That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room! Which is why I've become a recluse. But even in my room I find no respite from my fears. I moved more times than I can remember, and then 1 week ago, I moved into Briar Road. Why? Why'd you choose that place? Doesn't seem very comfy. Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money it spoke to me. Yeah, I can understand his meaning there. The rent? Obviously there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed. Cursed? How? The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there. Oh no! He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one could explain why. Surely no one wanted to live in a room with a history like that. I didn't. When the letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books! And books cost money! A horrible history is a small price to pay! When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning. Brave. Or blinkered. But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible that room's history really was. Gosh, was it really so awful? How did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened? At first, it was just a feeling. A feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me. Do you think that might have just been your mind playing tricks on you? No, my mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to the place. Nightmare? You've been having bad dreams? All the souls who've died in that room lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me! That really is horrible. I'm wondering if those eyes, like, how Shamspear's room had those bricks that could be pushed out. Maybe it's the same thing for Soseki's room? And now I've come to think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shamspear was writhing in agony from the poison in his body. I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room! I think I remember him mentioning something like that in the... like, when I first met him in the other case, and I was under the assumption that maybe it was the cat, but now it's... someone breaking in? He simply must move out of that room as soon as possible. I don't know, like, he should, but it's hard to, like... I don't know how much money this dude has after everything, and... also, considering his background history now, would be like... wait, are you the guy who was accused of murder? I don't care if you're innocent, you're not renting here! Yes, you're right, I know it, and that's why. I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home. I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation with any kind of history. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become history. Sadasa knows how to make the man listen. Of course. My lord, Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse on my room as well. Mr. Garrett? Yes, he knows that if people keep dying... wait. You only mentioned one person, like a young man, died there. Someone else died too. I'll never be able to rent it out again. Also, now I'm thinking about it, the whole suffocating... I'm not sure about the eyes, but the suffocating bit, I'm wondering if it has to do with a gas leak. Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place. Wait, what about your cat? Is your cat safe? Perhaps that may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps in his tenants' movements. I mean, because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas. There must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on it. What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps? Oh dear, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please, forget I said anything. Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well. What's important is that Mr. Shamspear isn't in fact dead. Once he's come around and he's able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released. Yes, please. Oh, I do hope you're right. Excuse me. Oh. Inspector Gregson. Couldn't help overhearing what you just said. And on that note, I have some good news and some bad news. Oh. Which do you want first? Always, every time, the bad news comes first. But hope is all you have. Hold on to it. That's my guiding principle. Right, well, in that case, good news it is. Oh my god! Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way. Then why did you ask me my preference? As you might have learned, the victim, Mr. Shamspear, was just unconscious. He's come around now. Yeah, we saw it happen in all its terrifying glory. We're still being treated by doctors, but we managed to get a written statement from it already. Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume? Oh, thank goodness. It's all over then. I can leave! Sorry, no. That's not on the cards. Wait. Why ever not, Inspector? Mr. Shamspear has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night. Natsume? Implicated someone? Oh dear. You don't mean... I'm sorry to say I do, yes. He's pointing the finger at you, Mr. Natsume. By sweet poison did he seek it to end my life! Not a wicked caitiff, Soseki Natsume. No. So I'm afraid he'll be appearing in court as planned. He'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations. No! And so, once again, Soseki Natsume found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day I would represent him in court, again, and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. I never got to feed his cat, did I?